A lot gets done in today's video. I'm not going to show you a whole lot, but the KZ there gets finished up from the last video. I get the front fender welded up and finished. Powder coat both. Make a tool actually to finish the front fender. Might even take it for a little test rip. You have to stick around and see. If you watched the last video, you've seen that I started making a fender for the KZ there. And as promised, I'm going to finish it up today. I'm going to make the mounts, tabs, top mount, whatever I decide to do. I got some cardboard. I'm just going to do some CAD, you know, cardboard aided drafting, design, whatever you want to call it. And try to get this fender done today. And if I have time, if it goes well, I might try to powder coat both of them. Still not sure. We'll see. Alright, like I said, if you watched the last video, you've seen me make this little aluminum fender here. It's kind of a happy medium between like a little short fender and the full length factory. I think it fits the style of the bike pretty well. So I need to make a mounting set for it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do tabs on the side like I said before, or kind of a over the top mount. I'm going to make a pattern for both, see what I like. I got, like I said, some cardboard. I'm going to probably use some paper, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Need something to gap the fender up with. Very well can't let it sit on the tires, so I'm going to find some tubing or maybe a piece of old chain or something, lay on there to give it a good, nice, consistent gap from the tire. And if you didn't know this, tires grow at speed. They'll actually get taller. So you really need to account for that, leave a little bit extra room. I think this wire loom will work. Marked a little center on there so I can get it nice and centered on the fork tubes. So I can go simple little tabs on the side like that, kind of like factory ones were. Maybe make them shape nicely, do a quick weld. Freehand sketch something on here real quick. Very simple, basic, looks kind of like the end of a dog bone or something. But it'll do the job. It's not a fancy bike. I think it would be alright, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to make a kind of over the top strap type mount. Let's see how that looks. Use a piece of our nice old construction paper again. This cardboard I'm using will be too hard to make a smooth bend around this thing. That piece wasn't quite long enough, so I'm going to get a full piece of paper here. Opportunity to see if my stomp shear here will cut paper. That's a sign that they're properly adjusted and sharp. This thing ain't gonna do it, guaranteed, but it'll be fun. Let's try it out. Bets? No? Yes? No, it just ripped it. I had a feeling. What does that look like? Gotta change that. That's a little better. I narrowed it from 3 inches down to 1.5 inches across the top. I just feel like that might look a little better. If I decide to go this route. Now if I do this, I have to figure out a way to fasten this strap to the top. I'd like to do like solid rivets. I don't have any though. I don't think I'd like the look of a pop rivet. It would look cheap. I could do a couple tack welds across the top, which, you know, run the risk of warping this thing a bit, but that might be the move if I do this. I kind of like the look of this better than the little side tabs. To me, this looks a little nicer. I could add like a little dimple die in the top, inverted dimple die, just to make it, you know, add a little flair. Not sure what I want to do here. I think that's pretty close. I think I'm going to run with this, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll do the little side tabs, but kind of liking this idea. So I traced my template on here. I'm going to cut it a little bigger, leave some length on it, just in case it's going to grow, it might shrink, depending on how I do it. So I could always trim it up if I need to. This is just a scrap piece. I pulled it out of the bin. I'm going to try to make it work. Yeah, I don't know. I might even change the width because luckily this piece already had the dimple die size that I have in it, and looking at it, it might take up the full width. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. That might have just changed my thought. I can leave this a little wider in case I want to change that. We'll see. I have a plan. Kinda. Yeah. If I overlay that, that's just not going to look right if I do that. So, I don't know. We'll see. A little wider, gives us some room to work with. I might form the whole piece and then maybe change the profile of the width if desired. I think that might be the way to go about it. So I'm going to clean up the edges on this thing a little bit more and use the slip roll, I think. Okay, so I bought this little slip roll from Woodward Fab, I don't know, a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I've actually never used it. Just been sitting around. The rolls are a little surface rusted because my garage gets very humid and I didn't properly protect it. So I'm gonna have to remedy that before I really want to make a nice surface finish with this thing someday. But for now, I think it'll be okay. I got it on a second sale and I can see why now. The bottom's not quite straight. It wobbles, but it's fine. I can always shim it. I'm just gonna screw it to my little wood table for now and give it a go. I've never used this thing yet. I'm gonna run a little scrap piece through it. Run this little scrap piece through it after I deburr that. I don't want to mar these things up anymore. Alright, let's go ahead and run this thing through here. I think I'm exceeding the thickness capacity of this thing, but let's give it a shot. Like right on the edge of the gears, I can feel it getting a little notchy. Not bad, nice and smooth. We're getting very close. After I do maybe one more quick pass, I'll show you guys on the fender. Look at that. All right. So that's where we're at with it. It's pretty dang close. I think I'm gonna give it one more quick run through there, a little bit more tension, see if I can tighten it up. All right, it's pretty dang close. I don't know if you can see that. I think I can fine tune the rest by hand, but that gave me a real nice, smooth, consistent start. So I can work with that. I have to fine tune it a bit on the dollies, whatever, but yeah. Good start. All right. That's a good start. I mean, we got a little bit of a gap, but I think I can work with that. I'm gonna start trimming it and maybe getting the profile I like, and then I can better form it to the fender itself, because it'll be a lot slimmer of a profile and easier to maneuver. All that extra material on there is kind of holding it back at the moment, so let's give that a shot. This is a dimple dissection I cut out of that scrap that I used to make this. Kind of set it on there. See if I'll even be able to do that because it's so rounded. Probably flatten it out a bit if I press that in. Kind of want to try it though. I mean, it's just a scrap. To mess it up, just do it again. It's the only dimple die I have. I wish I had something like a 3/4 or 5/8 or something like that, 1/2 inch, because that would work. This might look kind of cool. If you're going to be doing metal work and messing with curves, I highly recommend getting one of these cheap, you know, cloth, fabric tape measures. They are great. You're not trying to bend a hard tape measure around something. I don't know if I should do it. Think I should chance it? I think I'm going to chance it. Not going as planned. Alright. Let's see what happens here. I have a feeling it's going to flatten the heck out of it, but it's alright. Like I said, we'll start over if it's too bad. Oh yeah. Ooh, she opened up a lot. It's kind of cool though. Right, as you can see, kind of flattened it back out quite a bit. Let's see if I can kind of bend her back on there. Not too far actually. It still looks pretty cool. Didn't really flatten out the profile, it kind of actually made it look better, oddly. I think it almost needs a couple more. Well, there's the view. I like the look of the one. I feel like it almost looks like it's missing something on the sides though. It still needs to be formed a little tighter, as you can see as well, but I think even once I thin the profile out even more, the width throughout the middle, it's going to look even weirder. Let's try that first before I decide to add anything. I don't have a smaller dimple, like I said, but I could whip something up on the lathe. I'll go ahead and trim it up. Alright, marked out a couple lines. I'm gonna, with some tape, I'm gonna run down that. Maybe kind of radius that in, see how that looks. I don't know. Just messing around here, we're just having fun. We'll need some filing to clean it up, but you know, that's a little better. Thins it out a bit. Looks like a bent dog bone, but I kind of like it. I'll put it back on the fender and see if I need to add any extra little dimples, which I'll have to make a die for that, so I don't have time for that today, but we'll see. That definitely looks a heck of a lot better now. I think I like that better than welding two little tabs on the side. This looks a little bit more unique. My old Harley Sportster 48 had a fender kind of like this. It's probably what sparked it in my head. I do still feel like them sides are missing something. I'm going to see what I have for aluminum round stock. I might actually make a quick dimple die on the lathe. So I was looking through my drawer. I have a bunch of aluminum stuff laying around. I know this isn't the proper material, but what I got. I don't have any tool steel laying around or anything anyway, but I found these spacers I have a whole bag of them from somewhere. It's about 5/8 ID. I think that would be a good contrast to that 1 inch that's on there. And then I had some of this stock, I believe this is 1.5 OD, that same OD as that. So basically I have my female side. Just have to cut in a concave here and then shape this side into my convex that'll actually form the dimple. I don't think it'll take that long, maybe 20-30 minutes, and it's a tool I'd be able to use for a while. If I'm only using it on aluminum, it should hold up for a bit. Alright, I've never made a dimple die before. I'm going to use my 1 inch one that I have as a guide, kind of shape this one, see how it works. Here goes nothing. The good thing is, if I screw this up, not only is this side, it's the same bore all the way through already, so I can start over. I have a couple more, so I think that's a good start.
Why are you being cruel when we could have all this in the drive-thru? Order my food.
Alright, there's my tool. Whipped it up real quick on the lathe. Still have to trim this down to the length of that, but I can use it for now. And here was my first attempt. Before I fine-tuned it, it came out pretty crappy. But focus, there we go. Turned out pretty good. And that was just a quick one on some dirty material, so I think that's gonna work out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the holes drilled. I'm gonna charge my camera while I do that because it's about dead, so I'm probably not gonna record that, but after I come back, we'll see the rest. Alright, so I got it all dimpled, laid out. I think that was the move. It looks way better now. I already set it on the bike. My camera's been charging. I'm having issues, but I think it looks pretty cool. Got it clamped and set up. I'm gonna do a couple tacks Then I'll test fit it, see how it looks, and then I will go ahead and finish weld what I'm going to do, and then we'll get on to powder coating. Alright, I threw a few tacks on each side. Looks pretty dang cool. I don't know what I was thinking. This thing looked cool without a fender, because this looks freaking sweet. Wish I would have done this sooner. But I'm digging it. I think it looks way better. So I think I'm going to run a couple short beads, see how that goes. I don't want to fully weld the whole thing because I think it'll just distort the crap out of it. So we'll run a couple like inch long beads, one on each end, one in the middle, and then we'll clean it up, see how it looks. Welds on it. Definitely not my best. Having one of them shaky days today. I haven't eaten, so that could be why. But I think they're good enough. I'm going to powder coat it anyway. But I think it looks pretty damn good. So I think it's a cool style for this bike. So now, got to get to powder coating. I think I've made the decision to do this one, kind of a similar color to the tank. That was painted, you know, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I don't have the paint anymore, but I do have some powder coat that I think will match very closely. So I'm going to do a sample piece first on a little scrap. If it doesn't turn out right and I don't like the color, then I'll just do this one and the rear in a black of some sort, whether it be texture, gloss, satin, I'm not sure. But I'm going to get the powder coat set up all ready and try a scrap piece with that gray and see how it works. Alright, so I'm ready to powder coat this thing. I have my oven up to temp. It's just a regular household 220 oven. It has to be electric if you're ever going to do this, just know that. There's a lot of information out there about powder coating. I'm sure most people have heard about it. Real quick, if you don't know what it is, it's actually a finely ground plastic powder. Thermoset powder, they call it. It's not like a normal plastic where it can just constantly be remelted with heat. Once this stuff is cured, it's cured to a degree. I mean, you can overheat it and melt it, but within its operating range, once it's cured, it's good. You negatively charge the particles with a gun and it creates a circuit. You use a little bit of air pressure, you spray the powder on, you heat it, it melts, it's done, that's it. If you really want to see a more in-depth video of like an at-home powder coating, I can do that. You guys just drop a comment, let me know. I use the Eastwood system, very inexpensive. I've had it for almost 10 years. It's never failed me. It works great. So I've got my sample piece in the oven. We're going to go ahead and pull that out, do a quick test on the color, see if I like it, and if I like it, we're going to go for it. Alright, you see I did that piece real quick. It's in the oven. I can already tell just because I hot coat my parts. I could see that the color is going to be too dark. Fortunately, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just let it bake just so I have a sample of it I can always refer back to. And then I'm going to pull the fenders off, get them prepped, and I'm going to go through my powders, probably do, I'm guessing a gloss black. I don't know, I might do satin, might do texture, I can't make my mind up. See what I have, and I'm going to get to it. Alright, here's that cured gray part. And I'll just grab it, it's just a sample. It's cured, so it doesn't really do anything. Alright. Yeah. Way too dark. Even down here it would have looked bad. So that's okay. I have our fenders preheating. Blacken the gun. Give those a few more minutes. I will spray them, coat them rather, get them back in the oven for roughly a 15-minute cure time, pull them out, let them cool, and then they're ready to mount. I can't bring myself to put those nice fenders on this dirty old bike. It's been a long time since it's been washed. Give it a quick wash, and then by that time the fender should be done baking. We got about 13 minutes left. Alright, fenders are out. The only powder I had laying around was this like semi-gloss black. I haven't powder coated in years, so I was just using what I had laying around. I don't mind it. I think it's going to look okay. Just because that bike is not perfect. The paint's not perfect. It's aged, it's weathered, so I feel like this might kind of fit. These are still hot. I really can't move them much, but once they cool down, we'll throw them on and see how they look. I think they're going to look okay. Like I said, kind of match the weathered look of the bike. And if not, I can always pull them back off, throw some gloss clear on them, or just recoat them all together with gloss black. But I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to look good. All right, we'll go ahead and get these things mounted up. Trying to avoid removing the front wheel here, but I might have to. It's probably going to be a little difficult to get these bolts in here. There's one. Two. Front fender's mounted up. Didn't have to take the wheel off, thankfully. That would have sucked. But it looks pretty good. Like I said, I think the gloss of it pretty well matches the rest of the bike because it is, oh, sorry, such an old weathered build, but man, pretty stoked on that. Turned out pretty damn good. Let's go ahead and get the rear in. Job done. Rear fender mounted in place. Front fender mounted in place. Turned out pretty freaking sweet. Now that this thing's all cleaned up and got the fenders on it, I'm having a really hard time fighting the urge to take this thing for a quick rip. I haven't ridden it in so long. I really miss this thing. I think I'm gonna fire it up, take it for a quick rip down the road, just around the neighborhood real quick, because it is not street legal at the moment. It's not, doesn't have current tags, but see if it fires up. It's been a while. rust rat. Well, this thing rips just as much as I remember. It's so much freaking fun. For a small, slow bike, it's still just fun to ride. It just feels faster than it really is, but super stoked on the fenders. Get all that water coming out of the heat rip. This thing's turned out pretty good. Very, very happy with it. Well, everybody, that's it for another video. I'm super stoked with this thing. Man, I really miss riding it. I need to get it back on the road. But if you like what you've seen here, please, I'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, drop me a comment, you know, tell me how you thought, or what you thought about it, how you liked it, anything you'd like to see in a future video. I'd love to keep making content. It's really fun. I enjoy it. So please share with your friends, you know. Please hit them buttons if you like it. See you next time.